Talk to everybody in here.
We have another situation, I got an email from Randy Rivers. We're shut down, and it's like, open the slate, review it thoroughly, and let me know. I can't open it. Well, I didn't like his email address, but he grabbed Gerard's email. Right. So that tells me, I don't know. I was gonna, you know what?
And ask him about it.
Well, the thing that I don't like, it doesn't have Gerard, that it's showing who I sent it to. You could have broken into Gerard.
No, delete that thing right away. Just put it in the spam. Yeah, put it in the field.
Yeah, I'll put it in. Did let me know.
Sir, do you have any questions about the agenda?
Either that or we can tell them because you know this is one. It's up to you, whatever. I figure. We're not probably do this just for certain actions for it. Not all. Beach bags, we have our pretty good German hammer. Hopefully, we're about half of the scales, but American meals, not great. It's still, I said, it was nice. It's tasty. Oh yeah, it was just.
I probably did.
It's all right. That's it.
Yeah. No, she's really doesn't read and
Plus he wants to know and get the kids. He's gonna have to call.
So, talk to every single person in here.
All right, good morning and welcome to the June 22nd, 2023 Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting. I'd like to start out just by welcoming Alicia Ginsberg up here. She's a new member of the Zoning Board of Adjustment and Planning Commission, has joined as alternate number 2, but today she'll be voting with us. Welcome, Alicia. If any member of the audience wishes to speak to an item on the agenda today, there are speaker request forms to the left of the dais. Please fill out the request with the agenda number of the item you wish to speak to and hand it to the secretary. At this time, we would also like to ask that if any member of the audience has a cell phone or other electronic device, that you either turn it off or turn the ringer to silent. If you need to take a call, please step out to the hallway so the meeting is not disrupted. The public hearing on item number 1, the approval of the June 8th, 2023 zoning board of adjustment meeting minutes is hereby opened.
Move approval of the minutes.
I'll second.
All right, Karen made the motion to approve the minutes, and Vince seconded that motion. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2.
Good morning, zoning board. My name is Jonathan Howard, and I'm here to present an application to variance request to allow a gravel parking lot in lieu of asphalt. At 3005 Beale Street. The applicant submitted a request to allow a gravel parking lot in lieu of asphalt for a 13,000 square foot fenced-in trailer storage lot at Black Hills Power Sports, excuse me. The vehicle or equipment maneuvering areas and approaches to permanent loading docks and shall be paved as set forth in the minimum standards for construction of parking lots. So the variance request would be to exempt that. The subject property consists of 2 parcels that are approximately 2.23 acres for a total of 4.46 acres. A recent building permit was issued for some improvements on the property, so the existing location of the lot has changed, and I will show you the site plan here shortly. The zoning is light industrial, and most of the neighboring uses are the same. To the north is I-90. Future land use is also light industrial. Main access is from Beale Street, but it can also be accessed from Eglin Street, which is a minor arterial. Here, outlined in red, is the proposed site plan improvements where they are expanding the 22,000 square foot building. They're expanding the parking lot, adding landscaping, and the new proposed storage lot in the red box. So it will be screened pretty nicely, and it's set back about 100 feet from the neighboring property to the east. I'll show you that in the photos here. Here's some site work on the parking lot. You can see the storage lot in the background and looking east on Beale Street. Looking west on Beale Street and some of the store frontage. Here's inside of the existing, or the new 13,000 square foot storage lot. And then this is that 100-foot setback that will be landscaped in separation from the neighbor. So with that, I would like to make a friendly amendment to the recommendation, but I'll cover a few things first. Due to the storage parking lot being on a separate parcel, the applicant must obtain a developmental lot agreement for shared access, parking, landscaping, and open space in accordance with Rapid City Municipal Code. So the staff, if I may, Chair, make a friendly amendment. The staff recommends approval with the stipulations that a dust palliative be applied annually, and that the developmental lot agreement be obtained.
All right.
If that's accepted, development review team recommends approval of the conditional use permit to allow gravel parking lot in lieu of asphalt with the stipulations outlined in the report. I'm here for questions.
All right, thank you, Jonathan. Vicky?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So just to be clear, the parking regulations state that areas that are to be used for storage, which is where the trailers would be stored, that's allowed to be gravelled, and they have to maintain a dust palliative on it so it doesn't create air quality issues. But the access aisle, where you would drive to get to the stored material, that has to be paved. And we will be bringing forward an ordinance amendment in the near future so that in these storage yards, the access aisles can be gravelled as well. And then when the dust palliative is put down on the storage areas, they'll apply it to the access aisles. You've seen a few of these variances over the years. This just isn't practical. And so with the acknowledgement that we will be bringing forward that ordinance amendment, this is the minimum adjustment to allow the reasonable use of this area of the property. And we are in support of approval of the variance with the two stipulations that Jonathan mentioned.
Thanks, Vicki. Kelly?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just real quick, Vicki. So currently the access aisle has to be paved. Is that a requirement? And going forward, that will be eliminated. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Does it stipulate asphalt or concrete, or does it matter?
Hard surfaced.
Hard surface. Okay, thanks.
It's dependent, the city engineer gets to make the decision on that.
I'm just thinking out loud here. I don't know that this is a question, but the thought process on eliminating that requirement in a storage area, sometimes the aisle is a shifting location depending on what's stored in there. Is that kind of part of the thought process on this, Vicki?
Mr. Chair, that's absolutely correct. In addition, some of the stored product requires large equipment, sometimes track equipment, and you've heard the argument before from others who've sought the variance that they eat up that hard surface, and with gravel, it's just more user-friendly. So it's on our short list of ordinance amendments to bring forward.
Gotcha. Makes sense to me. Any other questions or comments from the zoning board? Vince?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. What kind of, is there a consistent dust palliative that's always used, or is it a variety of offerings?
Mr. Chair?
Vicki?
So there is product in different brand names and whatnot, but the end result needs to be the same. Based on our air quality requirements, there are certain standards that have to be met. So again, it's the number of times that it's applied is inspected and notice given by our air quality specialist. And if there's a product that isn't working, we would get with the city engineer to make sure we're using the right product.
And a second question I had regarding landscaping. Looking at the pictures of the actual photographs of the location, I didn't see any of the trees up. Are these, is there a time limit that these must go up?
Mr. Chair?
Vicki?
So before a certificate of occupancy is issued for the use of this area for storage, the trees would have to be planted.
Thank you.
Karen?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is something that we've done in the past for storage lots, and I believe it's appropriate for this property also. So I'm going to make a motion that we approve this variance, and fact that this will not, this will be reasonable use of the property, and it's not going to harm anything, and include the two stipulations that were mentioned above.
I'll second.
All right, Karen made the motion as she stated, and the second stipulation that wasn't listed on our ahead of us was that a developmental lot agreement be obtained to allow use between the two parcels. Am I correct? Okay. And Vince seconded that motion. Any discussion on the motion from the commission or from the board? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. That's the only action item we have on our zoning board of adjustment. I'd look for a motion to adjourn. All right, Karen made the motion to adjourn and Vince seconded it. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. We'll now commence the Rapid City Planning Commission meeting for June 22nd, 2023. Again, if any member of the audience wishes to speak to an item on the Planning Commission agenda, there are speaker request forms along the table on the left wall. Please fill out the request with the agenda number of the item you wish to speak to and hand it to the staff seated on the left of the dais. And if you still haven't silenced your cell phone or turned them off, please do so now. Items 1 through 4 have been placed on the consent calendar today and may be approved as a group. Action will be taken on all consent items in accordance with staff's recommendation by a single vote. Any item may be removed from the consent calendar by any planning commissioner, staff member, or audience member for separate consideration at this time. The findings of this planning commission are recommendations to the city council. The city council will make the final decision. Are there any items 1 through 4 that staff would like removed from the consent calendar for separate consideration?
Item number 4, please.
Any items 1 through 3 that the planning commissioner would like removed? And any items 1 through 3 that any audience member would like removed, being that item number 4 will be removed. All right. The chair would then entertain a motion to approve items 1, 2, and 3 in accordance with staff's recommendations.
Motion to approve items 1 through 3 in accordance with staff's recommendations. Stipulations.
All right, Vince made the motion to approve items 1 through 3, and Brooke seconded that motion. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item number 4 is a rezone to rezone about 12 acres from no use district to medium density residential district. This is in an area of our property that's north of our community, north of Highway 44, east of Valley Drive. We did receive a large amount of neighborhood pushback on this rezone application. The applicant reviewed the comments and they have withdrawn the application. We anticipate that in the future, when they have more distinct plans for the project, we'll probably see another application. But for today, we need you to acknowledge the withdrawal of the rezone application.
Okay. Mike Quasney made the motion to acknowledge the withdrawal of item number 4.
I'll second.
And Vince seconded that motion. Any discussion on the motion to withdraw or acknowledge the withdrawal? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5.
Good morning, Planning Commission. I'm here to present a request by Fennel Design Incorporated for Keating Resources for a final plan development overlay to allow storage in excess of 5,000 square feet and to allow commercial uses for a property at 1845 Haynes Avenue, formerly known as Shopco. The subject property is 9.53 acres. The former big box store and surface parking lot will be repurposed into 90,000 square feet of storage space, warehouse and storage space, 10,000 square feet of office space, and 10,000 square feet of retail space. The proposed redevelopment does not expand the building footprint. The zoning is general commercial, so storage in excess of 5,000 square feet is a conditional use. There are some residential uses to the west and south. There's a mobile home park. Future land use is mixed-use commercial. There are 2 entrances to the property off of Haynes Avenue, which is a principal arterial. Proposed site plan, It proposes a building layout of the uses within the building, as well as 13 landscaped islands that will help to revitalize the property. Other than 2 ADA handicap parking spaces, it meets all landscape, parking, and screening regulations. Here's the building frontage. Improvements will be made, excuse me. The exception to allow an excess of 5,000 square feet would not cause an undue hardship for the public good due to the primary storefront and retail use being preserved along the building main frontage. Here's heading north to the north side of the building. Wrapping around to the north side rear where the loading docks are. The signage from I-90. There's the rear side from the north. Rear side looking from the south. And the south side of the building, the neighboring. Okay. The repurposing of a vacant big box store with mixed-use commercial uses is in conformance with the adaptive reuse and infill strategies of the comprehensive plan. The Public Works Department Engineering Division is requesting that a drainage report and a civil site plan review be completed upon submittal of a building permit to ensure that there are no drainage issues. Development Review Team recommends that the final plan development overlay be approved with the stipulations noted in the report. I'm here for questions, and the applicant is in the audience.
Mr. Chair,
Vicki?
as a part of what we're asking you to approve, it would be granting the exception to allow more than 5,000 square foot of storage that are otherwise allowed in general commercial. That would be to allow 90,000 square feet. That would be contingent upon locating the proposed retail uses within the front of the structure. When we initially met with the applicant and his consultant, Gene Fennell, the consensus was this. This is a vacant building. We've seen it vacant for several years. Trying to find a reasonable reuse of this building has been difficult. Big box stores just don't hold the draw and the charm of a community that they used to. We'll probably be faced with this in other areas of our community as more and more of us change our shopping techniques and preferences. So in this instance, knowing that the storage, which will be mini storage, the public will access the mini storage through the loading area. It won't be the typical you back up to a garage door. This is one where you will actually wheel your goods into a caged unit that you would rent. It seemed like that would be a reasonable use of the property, but the applicant was very good in working with us to understand that this is in a high commercial corridor area, and we wanted to preserve the appearance of the building as retail. And so securing that 10,000 square feet of retail on that east elevation, when you drive up to the building, you're still going to see the signs for the storefronts. They're improving the parking lot if Jonathan goes back to the site plan. They're breaking it up. They're putting in landscape islands. They have far more parking than they need. We anticipate in time some of that area might be platted out and additional uses brought on the very eastern part of that parking area. And we're hopeful that happens because this is a lot of unused parking space. But in all, the win for the community is that we don't have a building that's being unused and unattended. And the compromise was allowing an excessive amount of storage in a high commercial area. But with that commercial storefront, we thought it was the compromise that we could land on to get the use of the structure back in place for our community. So we are recommending to approve, and we are requesting that you grant the exception to the amount of storage. And I see Gene Fennell is in the audience if you've got any questions.
Thank you, Vicki. Kelly?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Quick question on the commercial frontage property. I didn't see any architectural drawings that I could find in the report. Is there any plans to open that up, with like storefront, commercial windows, or is it gonna stay as far as the curb appeal?
Mr. Chair, if we could defer to Jean Fennel, please.
Once you're at the microphone, just identify yourself, please.
Didn't hear that.
If you could identify yourself once you're up there.
Yes, Gene Fennel, architect. The question again, if you could.
I was just curious, the storefront from the parking lot, will that be, obviously it's gonna be commercial use, will that be opened up as far as redesign, like storefront windows typical, for more, visibility, I guess, ambient light and all that stuff?
Generally speaking, we're maintaining the exterior openings as they are. The use of the building would require much less egress entrance than it currently has, and because the self-storage would be entering from the upper part of the plan as you look at on that plan, we decided that the type of businesses that would be along that front could just utilize the openings that exist right now.
Okay. Was there a target tenant, or are you just sort of putting it out?
There are some tenants that are being negotiated at this time, but none of those had gone through corporate approval yet. So we decided to just let this process play out. We know that we will have to come back once those are determined. And it sounds like in the back of my head here that those are going to happen within this week.
Okay, thank you.
So.
Mr. Chair?
Vicky?
As a part of the letter of intent, there is some information about painting the storefront, and maybe Jean, if you could visit about that a little bit. I know we had talked about trying to improve the exterior aesthetics of the building.
Yes, painting, and of course the Shopko sign will go away. The businesses that will be incumbent to the building will have their own signage, and we've had those discussions with how much signage is available, et cetera. Some of those not being determined yet. We haven't really decided what that signage is, but the front face of the building will be painted, and very possibly the entire building. That's to be determined yet. We've gone through fire sprinkler renovation conversations because as it sat here vacant, the sprinkler system was frozen, and so those kind of repairs need to happen yet. The pointed out was that the landscape islands, I have done a complete inventory of the islands, and we're replacing all the plant material. It is old and decrepit, has lived its life. Several of the curbs have been plowed into with snow plows and broken. Those are being repaired, and a couple are being reinvigorated. So we're trying to break that up a little bit more. The parking that you see there is probably the maximum parking that this building will see, the vehicles in that lot, because the vehicle requirements for the storage is so much less than the parking that's available.
Thank you. Appreciate that. It's good to see a older building repurposed rather than just, they degrade if you don't use them, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Karen?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I appreciate the comments from Kelly. I just wanted to follow up on that. If there is any changes to the building on the outside, whether it's to put a different storefront in or a different way of accessing the storage unit in the back, storage units in the back, do they need to come back here for that, or is that like a building permit?
Vicky?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That would all just be handled through the building permit. It's not changing the footprint of the building. So those are those minimal adjustments that's allowed by ordinance.
Great, thank you.
I just had one question on this, that on our last item, we had this developmental lot agreement. It looks like the parking that's associated with the main Shopko building takes what's in front of what I would call Freed's Floors. Is there an agreement between these two lots, or does Freed's Floors have all the parking they need?
So there again, the parking in front of Freed's is actually owned by Shopco. They are required to have 123 parking spaces for this combination of use. They have 495. So if there is an agreement with Freed's for that parking, they have far more than they need, and that won't be an issue for the reuse of this building.
Okay, I don't argue that there's well too much parking there for what's going on, but just want to make sure that an existing use that, you know, they reused a box store, you know, for a while now successfully, and I just wanted to make sure that that wasn't, that there wasn't any threat to that, I guess. Any other questions or comments from the commission? Karen?
I'll make a motion to approve this item with the 7 stipulations as stated.
All right, Karen made the motion to approve item number 5, and Vince seconded that motion. The motion included, as Karen stated, the 7 stipulations. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6.
Yeah, good morning, Planning Commission. Item 23 PD 015, major amendment to a plan development overlay to allow on-sale liquor. Here's the site. Here's the zoning. As you can see, general commercial. Here's the future land use, identifies the site as mixed-use commercial. Major street shows Sheridan Lake as a principal arterial. Here's the area in general. This will be the building. They are actually the most southern on this to the left. The applicant has submitted a major amendment to a plan development overlay to allow a brewery with on-sale liquor at 5734 Sheridan Lake Road. The application is a request to allow on-sale use to Unit 207 and an attached patio located within 5734 Sheridan Lake Road. The applicant proposes to renovate Unit 207, which consists of 1,560 square feet area, into Last Mile Brewery and Tap Room. The attached patio is 460 square feet. The proposed hours of operation will be 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Sunday. A brewery within general commercial district zone with on-sale liquor requires a conditional use permit application. As part of this application, the applicant is requesting an exception to reduce the minimum parking requirements from 177 spaces to 165. Staff finds that's plenty of parking space, especially with the business hours not overlapping. 2 of the units out there are medical clinics. You got an eye care and chiropractor out there. So I don't think they'll be open past 6 or 7 when the brewery's jumping. As you can see, here's the area down here. Here's the floor plan. So here's, the 1,560 square feet of Last Mile Brewery and Tap Room, and as you can see, the 460 square foot patio to the south of it. Here's the area. You can see they have both their signs up, the on-sale liquor and planned development request. Here's the complex that it's within. Here's the patio to the south. As you can see, that's like a 2.5 foot retaining wall. A little bit of hardscape and landscaping around it. Here's Sheridan Lake Road looking south. Here's Sheridan Lake Road looking north. Staff recommends approval of the major amendment to the plan development overlay to allow on-sale liquor with the stipulations noted in the staff report. The applicant and I are in the audience for questions. Thanks.
Thank you. Questions from the staff on this item, or for the staff on this item? Comments from the commission? Anything?
I'll make a motion to.
There you go. All right, Vince made the motion to approve item number 6, including the 3 stipulations.
Including 3 stipulations.
Is there a second? All right, Brooke seconded that motion. Any discussion on the motion to approve? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Item number 7.
Yeah, 23 PD 016 is a major amendment to a plan development overlay to allow on-sale liquor in conjunction with the casino. Here's the site. The site is 5312 Black Hills Boulevard. Zoning shows commercial, general commercial. Future land use shows mixed-use commercial. Major street plan shows Katrin Boulevard as a principal arterial. Here's the site. So the applicant has submitted a major amendment to a plan development overlay to allow on-sale liquor in conjunction with the casino at 5312 Black Hills Boulevard. A previous final plan development overlay application was approved on the property to allow a 16,795 square foot off-sale liquor store. The applicant is proposing to retain that same footprint but renovate it to be 10,754 square feet area for the liquor store with 4,461 square feet of warehousing, 1,641 square feet of casino with on-sale liquor, 541 square feet of office space, and 1,350 square feet of fenced outdoor patio area to the north of the building, which is this area right here. The proposed hours of operation for the casino with on-sale liquor will be Monday through Sunday, 7 a.m. to midnight. The liquor store is a permitted use within general commercial zoning. Any on-sale liquor requires a conditional use permit. So here's the floor plan of the building. You can see Mr. Liquor will consume most of this. There's the warehousing and storage with the beer cave they were talking about. The casino will be up here in this little area. Here's the tasting room that they will have with 2 overhead doors accessing the outdoor patio to the north of the property. Here's some elevations. Signage is in compliance with code. They're not proposing any LED or flashing electronic center message boards. You can see proposing a 4-foot fence in case the patio width. Here's the area. They got both their signs up. That is looking east. You can see Katrin in the back. There's a better shot of the site. Here's looking down Black Hills to the north. That is the existing Walmart out there, the back of the building. Here's looking south. There's a signage for that area. And this is looking east into, I forget what the apartment complex is called out there. Eagle Ridge, there we go. West, sorry, looking west. Eagle Ridge does have a playground within it, which we take into consideration when reviewing this, but it's outside of the 500-foot buffer zone. So yeah, the applicant was all right. Staff recommends approval of the major amendment to a plan development overlay to allow on-sale liquor in conjunction with the casino. The applicant's in the audience for questions. Thanks.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the commission on item number 7?
Mr. Chair,
Vicki?
this is a good graphic. Thank you, Alex, for having this one up. You can see the undeveloped land between Black Hills Boulevard and the apartment development. When staff reviewed this one, we did look at what would be the impacts of a casino in close proximity to an apartment development. But that is undeveloped land that is currently zoned office commercial. So we do feel that there will be an alternate land use that will eventually be constructed to provide not only the distance separation, which they meet, the casino meets the separation from the playground and even the residential zoning, but at some point we'll have that visual buffer as well. The other thing that we looked very carefully at is the screening around the outdoor patio. We wanted to ensure that if anyone's out there with a drink in hand, they can't access the parking lot directly from the patio.
They have to go back into the casino area so that we have staff there to monitor someone leaving with a drink. And they met all of the review requirements that we apply when we're reviewing these applications.
All right, thank you. Vince?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If I could see that photo again of the apartment complex, Echo Ridge, that you had up this one. There is a fence that is on the other side of that vacant lot. How high is that fence and how thick, do you know?
That fence is 6 foot high.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, any other questions on this item?
I'll make a motion to approve in accordance with the plan development overlay.
All right. Vince made the motion to approve the major amendment to the plan development overlay. Is there a second? Kelly seconded that. Karen?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just have a quick question. Do you know how close the building will be to the big Walmart sign that's there to the east? I'm just curious to see how that's going to lay out. Yeah.
So let me go back to the site plan. So yeah, that sign's, you see it right there, this little area, that's the sign.
That's the current Walmart sign, that great
Yep.
big tall sign?
That is correct, yep.
Okay, so that's not on their property, it's property of Walmart?
Mr. Chair?
Vicki?
That is known as an entrance corridor sign, and which is allowed. There's a process you have to go through to have that off-site signage. But remember, the company that first developed Walmart also owned all of this land at one time. And so they entered into the agreement to allow that corridor entrance signing so that other businesses could be advertised along Catron Boulevard. You see similar signage like that out at Rushmore Crossing as well.
Okay, I was just concerned about who owns it and what happens with it, so thank you.
All right, the motion on number 7 that's on the table is to approve with the 2 staff stipulations. Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 8.
So 23 UR 018, conditional use permit to allow a distillery with on-sale liquor use in conjunction with retail. Here's the site. It's 801 Deadwood Avenue. So the area is identified as general commercial for zoning. Future land use shows light industrial. Major street has Deadwood Avenue as a principal arterial. So the applicant has submitted a conditional use permit to allow a distillery with on-sale liquor in conjunction with retail at 801 Deadwood. The existing unit is 8,857 square feet, which is currently on the property. The proposed establishment will be known as Contraband Distillery. The applicant has indicated that the use of the facility will be a warehouse production distillery, tasting room, and lounge with a limited area for retail sales and a production storage. The hours of operations will be Monday noon to 6 or 12 p.m. to 6 p.m., Tuesday through Thursday, 12 p.m. to 8 p.m., Friday and Saturday, 12 p.m. to 11 p.m., and Sunday, 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. An artisan distillery falls under a conditional use within the general commercial district. Therefore, the approval of a conditional use permit is required. Here's the site plan, as you can see. Here's the open seating area, bar area, little stage. This is the warehousing, food prep, processing of the spirits. A little bit of storage in the back, storage up here, office, other office, corridor, lobby. Here's some elevations of the existing building. More elevations. Here's the existing site. This is looking south on Deadwood. This is looking north on Deadwood. Here's the sign they had up. And yeah, here's what the interior looks like right now while they're renovating. Staff recommends approval. The applicant did have to do a zoning exception for landscape requirements to reduce the points. That was approved yesterday, so, but that stipulation's still in the staff report. But yeah, staff recommends approval of the conditional use permit to allow a distillery with on-sale liquor use in conjunction with retail. The applicant's in the audience for questions. Thanks.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah, Vicky?
it's probably important to note that they are currently located downtown in the Central Business District. And I think they've had a very successful business in operation here in Rapid City. So moving out to Deadwood Avenue does allow them to expand. I also wanted to note that whether we are bringing a brewery or a distillery before you, there are strict state regulations as to how much product can be produced, how that production must occur, etc. You don't see us duplicate those requirements because the state already does. Just if you're ever wondering why you don't see that as a part of the stipulations, we don't like to, I call it double dipping. If it's already regulated by someone else, we don't need to include that in our regulations too. But those things are always reviewed and must meet all state requirements. But it is great to see a company that's been successful in town relocate in order to expand the business. This is an area that is circled with light industrial, and so it really does separate it from residential, churches, childcares, playgrounds, etc. It's from a land use perspective, a good location for this type of use that's both commercial and industrial in nature.
Thanks, Vicky. Any comments from the commission? Same old question, I guess. Vince?
Okay. Is he going to close down the business downtown, or is this just going to be something brand new?
Sir, once you're up, if you could just identify yourself.
My name is Jerry Saylor. I'm the owner of Contraband Distillery, and in answering your question, yes, we will be closing the business downtown. I'm getting old enough, I don't want to run 2 locations. I only want one.
Okay. Well, I'm glad the business is doing well. I remember when you first came in front of us to get that approved, and so good luck.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right, Vince made the motion to approve item number 8 with the stipulations.
With the stipulations.
All right. And Karen seconded that motion. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. That takes us to the end of the regular agenda today. Any staff items or discussion items?
Just one. With Alicia joining us, and we have new council members joining council at the next meeting, we will be offering a Planning 101 session. I'm going to say probably no sooner than 6 weeks from now. We're overwhelmed in our office right now. But if I will send that invitation out to all standing Planning Commission members. If anyone wants a refresher, if anyone couldn't attend when we offered it when you first started, it's just a good reminder of what you're looking at, where your area of authority lies, and a better idea of the process in general.
All right, sounds good. Vince?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know we brought this up before. Are we limited in the amount of liquor license that's available?
So beer and wine are regulated differently than hard liquor, and it, in line with state regulations, computes to our population and a percentage of that. And that licensing is administered by the finance department. I haven't heard that there's an issue with the number that have been issued right now. As you know, if someone wants on sale for full liquor, those are few and far between and expensive to acquire.
Okay. And I just wanted to make a comment about doctor's offices, and I can confirm for you, my doctor's office has never been a jumping place. So. Thank you.
I must add that in the 28 years I've worked here, I don't know that I've heard a planner use the word that this is a jumping place, but I loved it. I loved it. It encapsulates everything great about Alex.
Mike Quasney.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You know, on the item that number 4 that was taken off, there were some interesting comments, such as the access roads being finished all the way through. Is that something that I was interested in knowing whether that's planned?
So I have to caution you, the item's been withdrawn, it's no longer on your agenda. So discussing it doesn't, the applicant might say it's not fair, it wasn't here to defend himself. Typically, if an item is withdrawn or tabled, the Robert's Rules of Order are that we don't discuss them.
It was actually not his project, but the comments of the group in general, as far as finishing up the road to connect, that's actually what I'm wondering.
If your question is, does the city have any projects in place to do any improvements on Valley Drive, maybe we can defer to Todd to see if there's anything.
Todd?
All right, Todd, putting you on the spot.
Yeah, I think the comment was more about East Anamosa opening up.
Well,
from Eric.
the Valley Drive was talked about in.
So that's a city project in the future to reconstruct Valley Drive from 44 up past Homestead. That's scheduled for 2027. Design will start in 2025. So that we do have a plan that's a couple years out, but yeah.
Well, it goes along with my multiple access points that I always bring up, so.
Yep.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah, Vicki.
Jonathan and Sarah did a great job yesterday into the early evening collaborating with the applicant so that they were aware of all of the concerns, and we concurred and appreciated that the applicant withdrew the application until such time as a more concrete plan would come forward, which is what I indicated when we asked you to acknowledge the withdrawal. Having said that, any land use applications in this area, we will review the impact that would have been that were included in a lot of the comments that we received. What are the drainage issues of the area? What are the access issues? What is the impact of density to the existing development, et cetera? So we anticipate that there will be another rezone for this 12 acres. It would resonate in a more positive light if there was a concrete plan showing that this is, as an example, single-family development instead of apartment development.
Well, and it's always good to have information like Todd brings, if there's dates attached to road projects that are needed, that always helps settle things too. Karen?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So if the applicant brings it back, which he will eventually bring something back to us, he will bring back the rezone, but he will give us something beyond that so we have a better idea of what's going on. The only reason I am asking is because a rezone, you can't have stipulations on it, so it's like, how do you talk about stuff that you can't really vote on?
We hope. It's not required. The rezone is in compliance with the future land use plan. But based on the public involvement of this area, we are hopeful that the applicant would bring in a preliminary subdivision plan to show the lot layout, which then kind of locks down the land use. Or perhaps a planned development, which is something we could put on this, is if they want the rezone, do it as a planned development so that we continue to have public review of any future land use. Different options, not only for this property, but other properties in areas where access is limited.
All right, any other discussion items for today? If not, I'd look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, Vince made the motion.
Second.
Karen seconded it. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. I'm not taking opposition.